Welcome to our home and welcome to Lols and Learnings.
The purpose of this, I'm learning as we go, is to help, potentially help other startups or small business owners and operators. And I guess we've been going for probably getting close to 18 months, and over that course of time we've evolved a lot and learned a lot, and we probably will continue to learn a lot. I think the strength that Till and I have is that we're quite creative, like Till sort of tips the bucket in creativity. So that's great. That means there's lots of ideation and conjuring up ideas, but what we both lack is the business nous and the numbers, the ability to kind of price things accordingly. So that's what we want to talk about today.
Yeah, I mean, I spent 20 years in the film and TV industry, and Scott has been in health and nutrition and fitness. So we really business was not something that we studied. We started the Good Farm Shop out of, solving a problem for ourselves. And because of that, we just didn't plan it. It wasn't like we went, oh, I've got this idea, let's really sit down and like work out a business plan and a financial forecast. We didn't do any of that. We just, we just decided we wanted to start a cow share, and we sent out an email to family and friends. We made a really, really basic website that cost us $300. And we started from there, and people it was purchase up front, so we didn't put any money into the business when we first started, which I guess leads me to, I think, our first
downfall,
lull and lesson at downfall, which was I would say, if you're going to start a business, probably, retrospectively speaking, get someone on from the very beginning who knows
what they're talking about,
who knows numbers in the area that you're going into. So for us, for example, I guess we were an online butchery. We've now phased out the butchery part of our business, and we're focusing solely on the ready meals. But we had, along the way, we had my dad, who's very good with numbers. He studied to be an actuary. My cousin, who did 4-unit maths at school and is a high school maths teacher, very good with numbers. We had them sit down and try and help us with these numbers, at which point we thought, yeah, probably we've got them worked out, know how to price our products, and just like couldn't be further from the truth.
I think now we're talking about it, I think the biggest, I think pricing an animal, pricing different cuts of an animal is probably fairly unique, right? Most people buy something, turn it into something else, or just simply put a margin on it. And whereas when you cut up a body of beef,
yeah, but actually, like if you're a butcher and you're just buying in crates,
yeah,
you're also just buying in a product and putting a margin on it. But we weren't, because we were buying animals off our property, or other small farms that we were sourcing from, and that is not buying crates of cuts and then just getting a sheet of paper which tells you what they are per kilo and what margin to put on it. It's much more complicated than that. Back over to you.
Thanks. So yeah, how you know what inputs and costs have gone to get that body to your warehouse, but then that accounts for price per kilo across the board. But as you know, the cost of mince is different to the cost of an eye fillet. So we didn't then know how to calculate all that, because there's heaps of mince, heaps of sausages, heaps of chuck, but there's only a few eye fillets. And so how do you, anyway, I'm glad we gave it up. It was bloody hard.
Basically, we couldn't make money from it. Not really because, I mean, our revenue was good. It was always going up, but our profit wasn't good, because we just couldn't, at the end of the day, we couldn't make a profit on it. But what was I going to say? About your cuts and stuff. Oh yeah, and the other thing that was really tricky about our business being an online business and not a shop where you walk in and there's a price per kilo and then you weigh it and then you give the customer what the price is. We had to create our prices on like a fixed price, and so that the customer didn't feel ripped off when they received it. We were always estimating that it was under, so that, you know, they didn't then weigh it and go, well, hang on a second, like you said it was going to be, 800 grams, and actually it was 700 grams. We were always like, well, let's just give them the 900 gram one because we we don't want to get an angry customer. So we, or we go, oh, that's like a little bit, that's 900. Oh no, we don't have, 100 grams of an ossobuco. Just chuck in another 2 ossobucos, and you couldn't put in one because it was packaged with 2. And so there's just like a lot of little things. And when you're counting your cents, which you are when you're not a small online store, those little things really make a difference. Like all those things are your profits that you're losing along the way. So that was another thing that we found tricky, that other people hadn't, there's not very many people who are doing online butcheries, buying whole animals from farms. So yeah, it was a tricky one to work out when it came to the numbers and how to price meat, and and then also like regeneratively farmed meat, not something that everybody is doing. So also again, quite hard unless you go direct to one of your competitors and go, hey, how are you guys doing this? Which they probably are going like,
oh, we did.
Yeah. Some people were really lovely and really helpful, but
I mean, that's been
can't do it all the time.
That's been a nice experience too. The people that we've asked who are sort of, in inverted commas, our competitors, have been incredibly honest and transparent and generous with their advice, and a lot of them have shared their fuck ups along the way to help us alleviate ours. But yeah, I think going back to my original point about we all have different strengths and weaknesses, and clearly ours is crunching numbers, and I don't think I'll ever be a number cruncher or an Excel spreadsheet wizard. So I think identifying where your strengths and weaknesses are, and it's just unfortunate that we have the same there's not much, there's not much crossover, diversity. So lean on experts who are good at that thing and really can steer the ship in the right direction. I think that's been our biggest learning.
In the end, the woman that we got to help us with these numbers was, the accountant for Norco, the accountant for another big meat company. So she really understood how to price meat, like genius wizard at it. When we were working with her, we were like, oh my God, no wonder no one could help us. No wonder we couldn't do this. Well, it was just so far beyond our jurisdiction that it was like, we were never going to get that right.
But you were always asking me, Scott, you need to price these. And I was like, what? I could give it a stab, but I knew...
You were never pricing them. It was always, you were always going like, I'll get to that. And I was like, oh,
I did. But now you see someone who knows what they're talking about work through it, and you're like, okay, well that's, mine was elementary level and hers was like, PhD level.
Taking into account our, what we were paying ourselves for doing all the work. We were just like, started as a passion project. We were like, oh, we don't need to get paid for it. But
I never said
obviously you do. Anyway, so that we don't make this too long-winded, that's the first.
It's a bit late for that. Low on learnings,
Low on learnings. Okay.
So yeah, seek out.
I think they've got it, babe.
No, you just said something that was quite poignant, but I can't remember what it is.
I think
too caffeinated.
Let's cut. Let's wrap.